feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Becky Bliefnick was shot 14 times inside her Quincy, Illinois, home on February 23, 2023. Becky's father found her on her bathroom floor and called 911. Investigators from the Quincy Police Department and the Adams County State's Attorney's Office responded to the scene. On the night her life was taken, Becky Bliefnick was home alone. Her 3 boys were staying at their father Tim Bliefnick's house, about a mile away. Becky and Tim were in the process of getting divorced. Police determined that the person that took Becky's life had broken into her home by prying open an upstairs window. Investigators found tool marks on the window that had been pried open. Inside Becky Bliefnick's house, a partial shoe print was found near the point of entry. Nothing appeared to be stolen in the residence and the neighbors didn't see or hear anything. Small shreds of plastic were found around Becky Bliefnick's body. "We thought it was unusual when we saw that. I was like, okay, what is this?" Adams County State's Attorney Josh Jones told 48 Hours. When the shreds of plastic were examined further, investigators determined that they were remnants of an Aldi grocery store bag. Pieces of wood from Becky's bedroom door were also found at the crime scene. This led investigators to believe that the person that took Becky's life had violently kicked in the door. Investigators also found 8 spent 9mm shell casings at the crime scene. Investigators believe the intruder entered Becky's home around 1:11 a.m. on February 23, 2023. The investigators were able to determine the time because Becky had tried to dial 911 on her cell phone. She dialed 91126 before her phone was knocked out of her hands as the intruder entered her bedroom. Investigators found her phone behind the bedroom door. The police spoke to Becky's next-door neighbors that have a security camera set up in their driveway. The driveway ran alongside Becky's house. The camera didn't capture anything on the night Becky's life was taken, but it did capture something unusual about 24 hours earlier. At 1:05 a.m. a person was seen walking down the driveway towards the back of Becky's house. 48 minutes later a person was seen again walking in the opposite direction. The camera also captured a similar incident about a week earlier on February 14, 2023, Valentine's Day. Officers searched for more video surveillance and were able to obtain video from another house and also from a bus barn. The video showed a person riding a bike in the direction of Becky's house right before her life was taken and in the opposite direction right after. Authorities began to suspect that the person seen on the bike was the same person seen in the neighbor's driveway videos. Due to the fact that every time a person was seen in that driveway, a person was seen riding a bike down the road just prior to that. The issue with the surveillance videos was that the person was unidentifiable. Investigators could however say that the bike did not appear to have any reflectors on the wheels. When Becky's sister and brother-in-law, Sarah and Brett Riley, found out that Becky's life was taken, they said one person came to mind. That person was Becky's estranged husband, Tim Bliefnick. Sarah Riley told investigators that Becky and Tim were going through a contentious divorce. This is when Tim became a person of interest. The divorce documents indicate that Becky and Tim had been fighting over money, the marital home and custody of their 3 children. More than a year before Becky's death, she sent her sister a text message. This message said, "If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number 1 person of interest is Tim, as that is who would do something to me. I'm putting this in writing that I'm fearful he will somehow harm me, come after me, or will try to do something to me that takes me away from the kids or the kids away from me. He has already lied multiple times to paint himself as a victim and me as the perpetrator when it is absolutely the other way around. No, I have not sent this to Mom or Dad as I don't want them to be out of their minds with worry." Sarah Riley told 48 Hours that text was prompted by the murmur of one of her colleagues. One of the nurses that she knew was murmured by her partner, Sarah Riley told 48 Hours. As the investigation continued, authorities found a bike with no reflectors on the wheels, like the one seen on the surveillance videos. The bike was located less than half a block away from Tim Bliefnick's residence. After finding the bike and with the knowledge of the contentious divorce, this led investigators to execute a search warrant on Tim Bliefnick's residence and his car. On March 13, 2023, Tim Bliefnick was arrested and charged with taking Becky's life. When Tim was arrested, it made national news. This was in large part because of his appearance on the game show Family Feud years earlier. One of the questions he was asked on the show was, "What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?" And Bliefnick responded, "Honey, I love you, but said I do. Due to the charges he was facing, it had people talking. But prosecutors believe it had nothing to do with Becky's death. Also, it was the number 2 answer on the board. On May 23, 2023, exactly 3 months after Becky's life was taken from her, Tim Bliefnick went on trial for her murder. Prosecutor Josh Jones described the last moments of Becky's life in his opening statement to the jury. The defendant looked down at Becky and he pointed a gun at her. And he pulled the trigger, Jones said. When Tim Bliefnick's defense attorney Casey Schnack addressed the jury, she told them that the case was dripping with reasonable doubt, and that just because Becky and Tim were going through a contentious divorce, it doesn't mean that he took her life. Prosecutors presented evidence they say points directly to Tim Bliefnick, starting with odd pieces of Aldi bags that were found around Becky's body. They told the jury that they found stacks of Aldi bags during the police search of Tim Bliefnick's home. He had fired through an Aldi bag, either in an attempt to muffle the sound or to catch his shell casings, prosecutor Josh Jones told 48 Hours. Then Josh Jones showed jurors Google searches, like, how to force open my door with a crowbar, average Quincy, Illinois police response time. How can I check if a gun is registered to me? Does my whoop record the exact times I wear it? And can you just wash off gunpowder residue? Prosecutor Josh Jones told the jury that during the investigation, info was downloaded off of Tim Bliefnick's phone and it was discovered by investigators that he had a Facebook account under the name John Smith. The John Smith Facebook account appeared to have been looking at a bike for sale. It was a blue Schwinn without reflectors on the wheels. This bike is just like the bike that was found less than half a block from Tim's house. Prosecutors told the jury that police found a crowbar in Tim Bliefnick's basement. The prosecution called an expert to the stand who testified that she compared the crowbar to the tool marks left on the window that was pried open at Becky's house. While there were microscopic consistencies, she couldn't say with scientific certainty that the crowbar made those marks. The prosecution also presented to the jury spent shell casings which were found in Tim Bliefnick's home. An expert testified that she compared them to the shell casings found at the crime scene and determined that 27 of them had been fired from the exact same weapon used in the crime. Casey Schnack, Tim Bliefnick's defense attorney, says that the expert's opinion concerning the shell casings is subject to human error. And she also suggested that everyone in town has stacks of Aldi grocery store bags in their house and therefore it's not incriminating. She also pointed out that the bike that was found doesn't have Tim Bliefnick's DNA on it, and she says that prosecutors can't even say for sure whether the bike that was found is the same bike from the surveillance videos. She insists it is not Tim in those videos. She also pointed out that there was no date or time as to when those searches on Tim's phone were conducted. She suggests that they could have been done after Becky's life was taken. The jury in Adams County deliberated less than a day before finding Tim Bliefnick guilty of first-degree M and home invasion. The trial lasted 7 days. Judge Robert Adrian told Bliefnick during his sentencing in August, "You researched this M. You planned this M. You practiced this M. You broke into her house and you shot her 14 times. Some of those shots were fired while she was lying on the ground, and you did all of that while your children were upstairs at your house, lying snug in their beds. YouTube does not like certain words to be used in videos. That is why you will not hear certain words said in my videos. I wish that was not the case, but it is. I hope everyone understands. Thank you for stopping by and I will see you all next time. Please, like, comment and subscribe.